do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street, they hawk. Still them talk, say, make we no talk. But thank God, say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. And people make you shout, oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come, oh, yo.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀, làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are joining me from. It is Mayegun Live.
Ọ̀rẹ́ ara yìí. Lórí YouTube.
Thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are joining from. Remember, read the caption of the broadcast, the description of this broadcast, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them, Mayegun today.
Ijó ìgbádùn yẹn, àníyàn tó ra ní.
Tifnumbu will bring more destruction to to Nigeria, and a lot of you are going to live to witness it. It's already unfolding, happening. Niger Republic, Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, they have all come together to kick not just France and their armies out of their countries. They've also kicked the Americans out too. I will tell you why. You need to understand this now, okay? I will tell you why. And Tifnumbu is already embracing them. So without wasting much of our time, let's get fully into it tonight. The northern leaders, they have come out to raise an alarm that Tifnumbu's government is already obnubbing in bed with the Americans as well as the French. But it's not for good reason. I mean, a lot of you must have heard about American base or American bases everywhere. When you go to Asia, you will see them there, you know, Japan, Guam. When you go to Arab world, you will see them there, Qatar, UAE, and few others like that, where you see American bases all over the world. Because America has international, what you can call the foreign policies for different countries. When it comes to the Arabians, where Americans have their different military bases there, they call it, they call it a determined, something like, something like to ensure that they continue to monitor Iran. So that's why they build those ones there. As Iran is, to the Americans, a terrorist state that is always planning to harm Americans. That's why they put them there. When you go to the Asia, like Guam, Japan, South Korea, and few others like that, America put those bases there in order to, number one, checkmate China, checkmate North Korea, and possibly India too, so that if they try anything funny, America won't have to travel from America and move their forces. They could just start there before the other forces will arrive. Then when it comes to Africa, their foreign policy, Americans' foreign policy for Africa, is not for Africans. And that is why America is more interested in the free flow of natural resources that they are getting from Africa, those that are going to Europe or going to America itself. So when you hear about American base or America building bases in Africa, it is not to prevent or protect Africa. So it's not to prevent Africa from terrorism or protect Africans from terrorism. Far from it. The reason why they are in Africa is because of your precious mineral resources. America and Europe have invested billions, to put it mildly, right? They have invested over $15 billion to build pipeline from Nigeria that is going to cut across all these African countries straight to Europe. And the reason why they want their bases there is, one, the free flow of the oil, two, the free flow of the cheapest mineral resources like your lithium. What else do you have there? You know, all those precious mineral resources that you have in Niger, you have in all these places. So for years, France, they've had their base in that part of Africa, Niger Republic to be precise. And because of that, they are able to monitor the mineral resources exploitation, not even like exploration, exploitation of African resources. So they were able to monitor all of that across the region. So all the French companies who are coming to Africa to take all those, expensive, precious mineral resources, cheap, almost free, they need protection. And that is why France had to set up a base in Niger, in Guinea, and in Mali, especially the one in Niger Republic. It wasn't to protect the Nigerians from terrorists, no. It is not to protect Africans from terrorism, no. It is to protect the resources of Africa from being tampered with by the terrorists in that axis. So as long as terrorists are not touching the resources for the French, they can continue to kill all of you. And they will be glad to provide them the weapons. So in that instance, these regions became poorer. They have been ravaged with economic saboteurs, France to be precise, stealing from them. Okay? Economic saboteurs. They've also been sort of saddled with terrorism, violence, restlessness, killings, and yet French forces are there. They don't get any business with them. As long as terrorists are not touching, they are not touching what they are stealing from Africa. Let me give you an example. A kilo of lithium is sort of a ton of lithium rather is sort of priced around somewhere around over $20,000. France was paying about $20-30 for a ton of lithium and every other thing. I'm talking about ridiculous. So they now made laws to say even though they are buying or paying ridiculous money that could not provide stable electricity for the countries they are taking them from, it could not provide a stable, dependable healthcare system. It couldn't. All the years of stealing from them, right, could not provide a stability for them. No prosperity, no nothing. So this time around, they were like, no, we are cutting everything off. France said, for years, apart from the fact that they are paying so cheap or next to nothing for this, all the French companies taking all these things there, right? There is also a law that says those countries cannot sell the resources to another person except to France. If any of your government try to go make any of those African countries go make any deal with any partner on their resources apart from France, France will overthrow the government. Listen, they have base in Africa. And in the history of a coup in Africa, they said France alone, they have helped carried out the overthrow of over 50 different head of states in Africa. Okay? Not just that, they have helped in assassinating more than 11 African head of states simply because they won't dance to the tune of France. And they killed them, put somebody who could dance to their tune in place. Yeah, but you see, these last 4 years, we have seen the depreciation of France influence in these French-speaking West African countries. So when the revolutionaries in Niger Republic removed their puppet president, a criminal that rigged himself into power, but kind of had the backing of America, the backing of France. When it was removed, France was so destabilized that they decided to wage war by using Nigeria. That was where Tifnubu comes in. So Tifnubu, who is fighting and battling with illegitimacy, he's kind of battling with legitimacy in Nigeria. A drug dealer, certificate forger, who managed to, buy his way through a corrupt system, institutions in Nigeria, and made himself president of Nigeria. He needed validation from these people. So now that France was losing, America was told to pack too. Because you know why America is there? America is there to also monitor all these resources. They are not interested in ending Boko Haram. They are not interested in ending all this terrorism in West Africa. America can end all this terrorism. I mean, they have a base. France have a base there. A base that actually monitors, with drone, that monitors the movement of these terrorists and their weapons. And most of the times, these terrorists have fought different, West African countries. These terrorists have fought their military on several locations with the France and American weapons. So all of these have now prompted to the point that they now said France should leave. America should follow. We don't want you here anymore. So since they couldn't remove the military junta in Niger, so they went back. Okay, they said, okay, since Tifnubu couldn't probably help them remove them, right? So let's make another deal. There is this AKK pipeline. This AKK pipeline is worth over $60 billion projects. And America is interested. And now that we know that a lot of you have gone to go and sign up your allegiance or something like an agreement with Russia. Now that's going to now change the American posture. So America went back and they said, listen, don't sign anything with Russia. Don't deal with Russia. We will let you do whatever you want to do. Do your thing, but just allow us to keep our base here, okay? And the reason why we are here is just to monitor the free flow of all these resources and all that. The guys told them, no. Of course, if you are ready to pay for the security of this pipeline passing through our region, we are not going to touch it, no problem. But if you want to keep them, then you have to come up with a better deal. We will protect the pipeline for you. And in return, you will leave our region, you leave our countries. Remember, Tifnubu that is battling with legitimacy. If they ask him to jump, he won't even ask why. Okay? It's just going to ask them, how high do you want me to jump? Military coup happened. People removed their corrupt president in Niger. Tifnubu started mobilizing soldiers in Nigeria. He wants to go to war for France. Not even the French forces in that region could go to war. Could go on and remove the Niger president. That would be too much. So Americans' goal right now is mixed. I'm coming back to that of France. So you see why America will offer anything to Tifnubu, including validation. I'll tell you. As it is right now, some of these West African countries are now making real money from their resources. Now they can decide who to actually give them to. For the first time, these guys, after kicking America and the French out of their countries, right? So they said for the first time, they have been treated like equals by Russia. Instead, they said, whenever you see France, or let me say French and Americans, whenever they come to these countries, they actually look so down on them. Like they use them as example, textbook definition of poorest African countries. And they were the ones who made them poorer by stealing their resources, undervaluing their resources. So they said they talked down on them. But for the first time, they were treated like equal as country, sovereign country by Russia. And Russia is now giving them enough weapons that France will never let them have. Enough military hardware, training, okay, including food. Exchanges that before now, they were just like, after stealing all they are stealing from them, right? Then they come back and say they are giving them aids to support them to fight poverty. The funniest thing is that Russia is not asking for anything. Do you see the difference? They went to Russia to go and meet Putin, and he was there willing to give them whatever they wanted. And for the first time, with no condition. So that emboldened them. So that created a new threat for America. So who is that person that could help us in this regard? The same lifeless Tifnumbu that only back but couldn't bite. He mobilized 15,000 Nigerian soldiers to Sokoto so that in preparation for invading Niger Republic. Last, he had to tuck his tail behind his legs and shamelessly, okay, withdrew them, including the sanctions, when none of this moved these guys. So now, Nigeria is going to be their next place. Tifnumbu will now let them move their base from Niger and build it in Nigeria. The story they are telling you is that it will help Nigeria to fight terrorism. It will help Nigeria. In fact, it will boost Nigeria economy. This is what APC Egbekegbe will come and tell you. But do you know the truth? None of this is true. America is not coming to protect Nigeria from terrorism. If America and France were in Africa to protect us, like, you know, they have the power, they have all the resources. If they were in Nigeria, if they were in Africa to protect us, you know that all the terrorists that have flooded Nigeria, most of them, they were moving downward, all from the path where America base is, French base is, but yet they did not stop them from moving. As long as those guys are not attacking any of the stolen resources from Africa, moving to Europe or moving to America, America has no business with the terrorists. America has nothing to do. See, whether you want to see the resources in the Niger Republic is more valuable than the Nigerians themselves to Americans. 200 million of you in Nigeria, you are nothing to America compared to the oil inside the Niger Delta, or the what do you call it, the lithium that is right there in Kogi, or any other very valuable resources that is also scattered across your country that are already secretly being extracted. When the people who are supposed to be the beneficiaries of these resources are languishing in poverty. So if America couldn't protect Niger, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali from the Fulani terrorists, because they don't have any, they don't care. Who told you they are coming to protect you in Nigeria? They are not coming to protect you. So, but the northern Nigeria, they have raised the alarm. And their own argument is also plausible to say Tifnumbu was just trying to set them up and setting them up in the sense that when Tinubu, when Tinubu is long gone, okay, the attraction of these spy masters for whatever they are promising him, okay, is going to bite them and bite them hard. I don't know what that means. But listen to this guy. He has something to say on the subject. A further elaboration.
I allied in some of the aspects written by these respective senior citizens. I have seen the letter. However, in some areas, I may have a slightly different opinion. They are right to express concern. And in my own research, it is not based so far on any request that has been made by either the United States or France after they have been expelled from some of these Francophone countries. However, I think they are sounding a cautionary warning to the government to really think if such a request should come. Now, we must go back to say that the issue of foreign military bases is even a continental problem that has been addressed or has been tried to be addressed by the African Union as far back as 2016. The African Union Security Council passed a resolution where they expressed concern about the proliferation of foreign military bases in Africa. But unfortunately, the African Union cannot order countries not to accept these bases. If you go back as far back as 2012, when the United States wanted to open what they call an Africa Command, from the name, they would likely like to have a base in Africa. But at that time, stronger African countries like Nigeria, South Africa, and others, they weighed in on some African countries that wanted to accept the hosting of Africa Command and told them, no, this is not good for Africa. And because of their stature in the African Union, those countries went back. Now, we must understand also that the Sahel and West African region is of strategic importance to the US and other Western African for several reasons, economic reasons. Of course, some of the reasons are beneficial even to us. There is counterterrorism. There is regional stability. They don't want spillover of people into their territories by migrants and the rest. There is also, the other issue is American or French or other Western countries' national interest. The region is rich in resources. They want to be there. That is a fact. They never had that if you research. The other issue also, they don't know what is really the place for China or Russia, who are competitors, to take over that place. So what I am saying, there are benefits of hosting, but then there are also side effects. Some of the benefits we share with those people who want to put the bases and our own. Some of the issues, they are for their own national interest. Now, having said that, when you put a base of a country like America considers itself, as an international policeman, for good or bad. America has friends, but it also has enemies. Now, when you accept an American base, definitely that means you may inherit both American friends and American enemies. These are the issue. Now, let's come to the fact. Now, after this expelling from France at this thing, the American policymakers, having recognized the Sahel and West African region, certainly would like to look for an alternative base after being expelled from these areas. Where are they likely to land? Again, American policymakers have indicated preference to a coastal West African country. Coastal West African country. In that case, you can name possible candidates: Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, Togo, Sierra Leone, Liberia, all those countries that are lying along the coast. But we have to look at history. We have to look at, the internal politics of those countries. And I want to say, even the American, policymakers, they are not blind about the internal dynamics of these countries. At the continental level, a country like Nigeria or Ghana, who have aspirations to be either regional or continental leaders, I do not see them agreeing to host a foreign base, because that will make them lose face among African contemporary countries. So to me, I do not see this. Even if the request was made, I think it will. Secondly, that will make that request impossible. I think Nigerian leaders themselves, they know from our history, when after independence, when we wanted to put a British base or enter into an agreement with them, that there was massive rejection of that idea. I do not think our leaders will be fully enough to think of giving these people a base. However, for the smaller countries, with due respect, I use smaller in quotation mark, every country is the same: Liberia, Sierra Leone, Togo, Benin, because of the financial benefits that come with a base, and because they are not aspiring for any continental or regional leadership, they may offer bases to America or France. This is my own estimation, and I count Ghana, because Ghana, again, when you look at history, with the history of Nkrumahism, let me call it that, you know, that was talking for African High Command, African emancipation. Even now, yes, there are bases, there is a small base, a temporary base in Ghana right now. But the Americans had wanted to enlarge it into a permanent base. The public outcry that greeted that suggestion, you know, made the government to walk back. So I do not see Ghana even accepting that. Overall, right now, even as we are talking, Americans have 29 military presence across Africa. But they do this thing in a kind of way that you will not understand until you read the papers. They call some of these bases enduring presence. They call some non-enduring presence. They call some lily pads. They call some so many different items. To them, not all these 30 distinct are military bases. So again, it's a matter of technology. I mean, a matter of terminology. So I would like to say, in end, I do not see history, internal politics, regional aspirations of Nigeria. I do not see Nigerian leaders agreeing. Of course, I have pointed out that when you do that, it means you are putting China at arm's length. You are putting Russia at arm's length when you accept it. I don't think Nigeria has been known to be non-aligned.
It doesn't matter what you think, my friends. Tinubu has accepted. And as you are having this conversation, right, this is like a sampling public opinion. You will resist. A lot of boys will rise and say, no, there is no plausible or anything good about having either America or France base in any part of West Africa. It is not plausible. It is not to our own advantage. Remember that. It is always for sinister reasons. And like that guy pointed it out, the moment you allow it, you have also attracted Americans' enemies, and you would have to share in that. So America hasn't been of any help to Nigeria